I got everything.
We're here now, folks.
I think I do. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We had holidays and got a different setup going on this week, obviously. Still a work in progress, but we're here. Not doing another week without podding.
Live from New Age Limited.
New Age.
This week we want to talk about team and family and how I think they should coincide in something that I think that everybody would benefit from if we kind of like analyzed it a little bit more.
Okay.
What you guys think about that? You all right with that?
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, we don't write any of this out. We just get on camera and we talk.
Yeah.
Put that out there.
One take. We don't rehearse. No, I think the everyday definition of family, or the what most people think family is different than what you are talking about, and maybe what you think it should be or what it should be. Just straight up.
That's kind of why I said team with it, just so it's not, I mean, just so you can kind of see like the definition I'm trying to blend together. Because to me, when I hear the word family, it's usually a predetermined group of people because that's what you were born into. But the word was like your inner closest team, right? I mean, because when you think about those people in life, those are the people that you call upon or go to when you're trying to get enlightenment on something or help from something or just joy from something, because that's a big part of it too. It's always like a sense of feeling and belonging, kind of like a team. And successful teams do things like successful teams do. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it.
Right. Well, like I said, I think when most people think of family, they immediately jump to blood as family, and that's I would kind of want you to dive more into that as far as because that's not what you're talking about, correct?
Blood. I mean, blood was kind of like, that's why I said like the pre-selected group, because that's what you were going to be born into. But I mean, that doesn't make up your team as you go through life. Not saying they're not a part of it, because that's why I want to talk about this, because the whole goal is to try to maybe bring families closer together and act more like a team. And I mean, you come across people in life, I mean, you could tell when people care for you and you care for them. I mean, that's family too, right? It might not be from your predetermined group, but if you treat each other kind of like the definition of family, that would make them my family. That's how I've done it in my life. Not saying that it's correct, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, because a lot of times, if you're saying that team should be more at the root of the definition of family, a lot of times I think there's a lot of people out there that would be able to relate to the fact that it's been the opposite for them. Like maybe their family, sometimes your blood is the people that work against you and or hold you back or whatever.
I can definitely see that. What you think, Ashton?
I mean, family's just the definition of it is just, it's a little confusing to me. Because like you guys said, when people are blood, everyone goes, yeah, we're family, we're cousins, and all that stuff. But then you find not a lot of them are there like you think they would be. You know what I'm saying? You got people you haven't even known for like a year that are going out of their way helping you more than the people that are supposed to have been there for you your whole life. It's just, I don't know. It's just a confusing subject to me.
I can see that too. I mean, I agree 100%. I think a lot of that, like, where does the root to sibling rivalry come from? Why are we in competition with our family and our loved ones instead of on a mission together like a team? That's probably what makes it confusing, right? Like you were just saying, like when you feel like you should be able to call upon or go to, and it's kind of like sometimes, not for everybody. I mean, I've seen families that are stronger than death.
For sure.
So, I mean, it's not everybody, and it's not saying anybody's wrong. I'm just trying to bring to enlightenment, like as we go through our days with so many distractions and so many things calling for our attention, just don't forget to nourish your team. I mean, being a part of a team's like stuff that you do together, you gather together, you practice together, You perform together. That's what a team is. And sometimes we take family for granted, and I think it falls aside. And then when the person does call on you because we lost contact and lost touch, it feels weird to the person who's getting the phone call when you're in need of help. So it kind of muddies the water on the whole situation when really if we practiced more together, performed more together, and had a mission together, I think it would bring us all closer. We would all achieve more. And that's team. Together, everyone achieves more. That's the concept of it. And if we could apply that to the word family and take the word family and just say, family's good, it's a good word, but I think the definition got lost along the way because like he said, like you just family, it's just automatic. That word's automatic. It's like thrown around real easily in life. And like what Jeremy touched on, like, is it just the people that you were born into? I don't believe that it is because what Ashton just said a second ago is people you've known for less than a year are reaching out and helping more than the people you thought you could count or call on. So to both of their points, family is something that you say is your inner close circle. And I think people become your family over time.
So you're basically, to like oversimplify it, it would be family is something that isn't something that you're born into, isn't something that you inherit, but it's something you build.
You definitely build it.
Because, there's a lot of people that aren't familiar with their family or don't know their family or whatever, and then they are able to build that in a way. You know what I'm saying? That's just one example. So basically what you're saying is in order to do that, you have to, using the analogy of team, you would have to practice together, train together. If we're following that analogy, that school of thought, then you're saying that it's possible. It's not an impossible thing to achieve.
Yeah,
it may not always work.
You're right. And I think we do naturally all practice as family. They gave us these holidays. Those are the practices, right? We get together. We try to get to know each other. We try to do things. I just think that there's a lot of barriers put in front of it. And they're coming from a family where they got sibling rivalry going on with their spouses. So
where do you think those barriers come from? Those barriers, are they put there by society? Are they put there by existing family members putting bad advice in your ear? Or by bad friends? Are they all the above? What are the barriers? Where do they come from? And how do you overcome them?
I think the message, man. When I was growing up, and I'm older, I'm 40, but when I was growing up, I don't remember a strong message of family. My neighborhood that I came from was family. So we were a big family, and we did everything together in each other's houses, and it just was one huge family everywhere we went. But inside of families and our own families, it's just, I don't know where the translation got lost. Maybe nobody put the emphasis on that practice was really important because that family is really important.
Did they put the emphasis on that it wasn't important or that it wasn't achievable? Because those are two very different things.
Whatever it was or however it happened along the way, like I said, I think the translation's been lost. We need to just get back on it and simplify it. Like you said a minute ago, in the simplified form, we need to start paying attention. We need to practice better. And how you build those relationships that people become your family through life is practice and family.
This is actually a really interesting discussion too, because sitting at this table, all of us are about eight years apart between all of us, right? So 9 years apart.
Yep.
You're about 9 years older than me. I'm about 9 years older than you. So it's like,
there you go.
So we have like three different, completely different outlooks on it.
I was very family oriented all throughout my childhood. 90% of the time I was living with my aunts, my cousins, my grandma. We were living like 8 people in a tiny little house. We had people sleeping on the couches every night.
For sure.
So, over time, I really started to see who was actually there for me. Because, when you live with someone, of course, they're going to help you out because they're all coming to the same house. But as we started moving out, people started changing. You started really seeing, especially when you're going through the bad stuff. That's when I really started to notice who was actually there for me and who would actually check up on me. It just changed my perspective on everything, really, when I started doing it on my own.
What do you get from it sitting here now? And right now at 21, 21.
Yeah.
Like I can think back to when I was 21, and my definition of that was completely different than it is now. So what's the where are you sitting at it right now, or is it still something that's up in the air for you? Like, hey, I don't know, but I'm figuring it out, type thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, whenever I first moved out of my dad's house, I mean, my aunt was always there for me. I know she always will be. She let me move in. It started not working out for a little bit just because it was different being around them all the time again. And then after that, I really didn't have anywhere else to go that made sense. I mean, they said I could stay, but they only wanted me to temporarily. They didn't really want to be around me like that. They just wanted to do it just so they could say they at least tried to help. So that's when my other cousin came to me and said, yeah, come stay with me. You're just going to have to pay a little bit of rent, but you can stay as long as you want. And my cousin Casey, and she really just helped me out. And it just started showing me the people that I thought were real close to me didn't really want me around that much.
So it's not always, it's kind of what Danny was saying, where it's not always the blood that ends up being the closest to you. Like
no, that's what shot
it's sometimes
me
it
most.
is, but it's always, as I know, as personally as I've gotten older, it's one of those things where you realize it's something that, what you were saying, it's something more of something that you build. And when you're at a younger age, you're not always either ready or willing, or you don't have the know-how or the maturity or the experience to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we all got to work on the building, because that's really where it's at. That's the practice. That's the doing things together. And it goes back to the other episodes, treat how you want to be treated. Like he said, he was in a tough spot, and the person that gave him the same type of treatment they would want in return is the person he felt like blessed him the most. I mean, if we all worked on that alone, I mean, we could have large teams. We all live next to each other. We all see each other every day. We all pass each other every day. Empathy is very strong. I mean, teaming up is never a bad thing. The more people you could team up with, the better. I mean, you're always going to have bad apples and rotten apples. And all you can try to do is get them to turn the corner, because trust issues are a lot of our problems. And I think that's where they got us.
I think the
The
building,
individuality.
I think the building of a family, and just to go on what you're saying right here, the building of a family seems like or the people around you as to be treated as family. That concept, I think, is foreign to 90% of people out there. I think people that listen to this are going to be like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I think you're making really good points and you can connect with some people, but why do you think, where does that disconnect come
Maybe
from?
you should question your teaching. I mean, just because you were told something or showed something, do you just take it for face value? I mean, do you Google something one time and say, that's it? No, you do research. I mean, but there's some stuff that you were fed through life, throughout your educational trials through life, that you just took as face value, everything that you took in. At the end of the day, now that you're an adult, look at it and say, that was a company. Those are companies. They got state funding and state money for those public schools. And what they actually taught you really didn't matter. I mean, start looking at the schools right now and what the scores are. Start asking common sense questions to people and see how much they catch on. But inside of all that information they gave you, they also told us how to be an individual and taught us those individualities. And it's deeply rooted. You should just question everything that you know, that you've taken for face value in life. Just question it. And when you start seeing some of the mistakes and some of the things that you believed might not be true, and it's going to make you dive in. And once you do that, it's a very fun experience, because at the end of it, there's this good feeling, man. I don't know how to explain it. It just makes you feel good. I know I seem serious most of the time when I say this stuff.
I would describe it as an epiphany.
Yeah, I mean, I know I look serious most of the time when I'm saying this stuff, because I'm deep in thought, man. I'm just traveling through my brain. Like he said, we don't write this. I don't come up with anything. I was just in the middle of unpacking. If you could see all the stuff around us, you'd laugh. The rest of the set right now is a mess. There's boxes everywhere. There's stuff piled up. But, I mean, wanting to do this is the only thing that I want out of it is for everybody to try to treat each other like none of us asked to come here. Treat how you want to be treated. We're not all here on some crazy mission, and I don't think anyone's ever figured out life. But I think a really good start is to treat how you want to be treated. Team up.
Treat people like family.
Yeah, be family. Be family. Let family be your circle and work on that circle. Practice in that circle. Live together in that circle. Have fun in that circle. Be the chain links in that circle. When you need help and you can reach out, everybody just grabs on. So it's not one person that's going to help you. It doesn't come down to the one person that has to show love. It's everybody showing love at the same time. And it's just a little bit of crumbs. And then bam, you got a cookie. We're all smiling. You want a cookie? Team up.
Well, and I mean, I think an interesting point of view as on working on treating people as family and doing that. And we can edit this out if you don't want to, if you don't want it. But like you guys, honestly, you guys, like you moving in, coming down here, working with your dad, living with your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is an interesting topic. And again, we can edit this shit out if you guys don't want to talk
No,
about
it
it.
doesn't
But
matter. I mean, he kind of gave you a brief synopsis of what happened. I mean, I've always wanted him to live with me, but at the end of the day, I want him to be a man too. I never taken away his decisions to be able to do something. Now, there might be times he's told me like I intimidate him towards a direction, but I've never told him he couldn't do what he wanted to do. And I mean, he just kind of wanted to fly. He did all the right things through school the whole time. He was a great student. He passed. He went through high school. Everything was good. I mean, when he said he wanted to be a man, how can I tell him no?
right. But what I'm saying is it's not the easiest thing, or it's not even an achievable thing for some people that don't grow up with their dad full time to all of a sudden jump back into that and click. That's not an easy thing to accomplish. And like it seems like, at least at face value, it seems like that's something that you are practicing what you're preaching, both of you guys. And
We
that
do everything together, right? True
Yeah.
or not?
I can't explain it. The minute I met him, okay, so listen, the first time I went and visited this man, I walk inside of his house. I see a collection of LeBron shoes on the ground. I'm like, okay, this dude's pretty hip. I walk in there. He's watching the Miami Heat game, playing Call of Duty, Black Ops 1 Zombies with some chicken fingers and ranch sitting on the table. I was like, oh, this man is pimp with the basketball goal out front. And now we're here.
For sure. So,
But I mean, doing things together is
That-
something that's a value too. And
it's
I
your
mean,
practice.
Yeah, it's practicing for sure. But I mean, it's also a value. I mean, if you don't have that value, like I felt like when I was growing up, this is just an insight, but when I was growing up, I felt like I had a whole bunch of family. I mean, both sides of my family were really large. And all of them were so distant at the same time. There's some of them right now that I love, but I felt like when I was angry at my worst time, like when he was saying when the bad stuff is happening, and I was reaching out to everybody, and everybody told me I was a bad person. Nobody tried to help. And I felt like all these people had titles that didn't deserve them. It's what made me break down what the value of family is. And I've always tried to treat people like family that come across me in my life. And if you knew me or know people that know me, that's what I try to do because I seen the value in it. I seen people had amazing families too, and they could care less about that family because they didn't know the difference of not having the support system of an amazing family. But if we practice together and we build together as a team and we team up instead of going against each other, man, I mean, it makes it way easier. Why everybody has an apartment in their apartment complex is only because we all want to be individuals. As a family, we could build the apartment complex and everybody live there. And you can name your street Our Shit Lane. Just saying. Just saying. That's achievable. We was talking about achievable stuff. That's achievable. I mean, people do it all the time. We just have to have a reason to team up. And the reason is there's no reason not to. I mean, trust issues or whatever they instilled upon us to not trust people and to be the separate person in your mind and not share that with real people and be the individual, that's the problem. And that's what they've taught us. That's why when he said being family to other people sounds foreign, like in foreign countries, there's places that people visit and said, oh my God, the people treat you so great because they treat how they want to be treated. And they treat everybody like family. That's not something that would kill us. That's not something we'd go out of our way to do. That's just something we'd have to think about and apply. And the only reason we'd have to think about it and apply is because we were taught something totally different. Your natural reactions happen like you're breathing. So those things are happening without you thinking about it. There's also a whole bunch of programming that you automatically believe for face value that's happening that draws you away from those things. That individual stands out all the time. All you have to do is process, think about it, and apply. If you started doing that and I started doing that and your neighbor started doing that, the walls would start coming down. We'd start building a team. And then it's not scrutiny and separating us for every little thing that we had no choice for. They could put us into a million categories right now. And you know what? I could tell all of you right now, no matter how much you believe it, you did not choose to be in that category. You did not choose the region of planet that you're on. You didn't choose what type of race you are. You didn't choose any of the stuff in your upbringing that curved and molded your thoughts of what you truly believe. You didn't do it. And when you start realizing that and you question everything you know, then just build a team up. It's a beautiful thing. It's good. It's quality. It's something we all need. We all really want it. We do. We
Yeah.
just have trust issues.
Well, I think we were taught that having trust issues is cool. And that's a very tough piece of programming to get out of because when you're so used to something, when it's muscle memory to get angry or to say, I was wronged by you. I don't trust you from here on out. That's something I've personally struggled with my entire life. And I keep my circle small because of that. And there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
I think we've depicted how we should act and react to almost everything in life through information we've taken in called entertainment. And I don't mean it in a bad way. And I'm not anti-entertainment because there's a lot of people that lack imagination. That's a beautiful outlet. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of our actions and reactions have been taught to us over time. So we react and react exactly how we've been learning to the entire time we've been learning. But if we just question it, there's stuff right now that'll make you mad. There's stuff that you think you can't go without. But that's only your brain telling you that initially. Question it. See what's really there on the other side. Let's be happy. Let's unite. You know what I mean? We don't have to have a million water bills. We can come together, live a little closer, have really big families. I mean, that's a cool thing. Imagine what those dinners look like when you got 18 families living close together and got this big hall where they eat at every night for a dinner where everybody talks and chops it up and we just achieving goals that we need to get done as a family to get to where we going. That's achievable. That's real. That could happen right now.
So what would you say to the people that have had that breakdown? You're talking about not only death, divorce, families split up all the time.
For sure.
I mean, how do you move past that, or how do you at least accept it? Because a lot of people accepting that, something like that, like, man, I put so much work into building this and now it failed.
Because I think, I don't know how to explain it. I think a lot of families are families out of necessities. I think a lot of families are families for the wrong reasons. I mean, but as long as it's genuine and there's not a sense of individuality, not saying don't be an individual because you have to be. You know what I mean? Everybody has to be themselves. What I mean by be the individual is don't be the greedy one. Don't think about yourself only. Don't put yourself before everyone. You know what I mean? Analyze the situation from afar. Like, be a part of the team. Consider the team when you're doing things, not just yourself or the one that you like the most. Do it as a team because that's when it's exponential, because it'll be felt genuinely across to everyone that it's for the team. And once that happens, I mean, powerful things happen. We actually got everything at our fingertips right now. We all do it for each other every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's I think you hit on exactly what I was looking for there was out of necessity. It's not always a necessity, but it's something that is always worth working toward because everything else will fall into place if you can do that, is basically what you're getting at.
Yeah, just be genuine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just start trusting, I mean, like I'm saying, there's going to be people who do you wrong, do you bad, but those people are going to be out there no matter what. Don't punish everybody else for them. You know what I mean? Actually be closer and stronger with everybody else so everybody can catch them before they get to hurt everybody else. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like,
There really is layers to all this.
Yeah.
There's so much unspoken stuff to all this. It's actually crazy.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
I think that when Danny hit me with this, said we're going to talk about family, I was like, okay. Like, I didn't say anything. You asked me before we jumped on the mic, what do you got for it? I said nothing.
yeah, I feel like
Because it's-
there's so
And
much
that's when we
more.
started.
I feel like there's so much more I want to say, and I don't want it to come off wrong or be used in a negative light anyway, because everything right now that we are talking about is just in a positive manner. It's just in forward thinking. It's in being progressive as peoples together, like for each other.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, Ashton, is that it's so multi-layered and it's stuff that's almost taboo to talk about. It's like you know,
But why though? See, that's part of that programming.
it's
So
like
if
the-
it's okay
yeah.
to glorify miserable living, we can just glorify that over and over and over again, right?
right.
But we can't come forward and talk about the common stuff that no one talks about, right? That's crazy.
Questioning everything
That's
you
crazy.
Well, the word that he used that was so explicit to that was unspoken. That was what you said. All this stuff is so layered that there's like so much unspoken stuff. Why?
know. It's just
I got
like
it.
he
I
said,
got
it's
it.
programmed.
Would y'all say practice was training?
Yeah.
It's
And
programmed.
so it's probably not our train of thought.
Right.
That's why it's unspoken.
Right. It's like, the mental health conversation. It's the same type of thing. No one wants to talk about it. Doesn't make good dinner talk. Why not?
Honestly, my mind's a little blown right now.
But that's an interesting thing too. I mean, we should definitely talk about all of those things because that's the stuff we need to address the most. Those are important conversations. Those are important things that we should address, not the dumb stuff, like what kind of shoes he was wearing. So what? I mean, I like shoes too. That's why I said shoes, because I'm an avid collector, but that shouldn't be the conversation.
Right.
We focusing on the wrong stuff.
Well, I think this conversation is proof that you can make any conversation into a positive light if that's truly what you want to do. But a lot of times those topics, politics, religion, family, mental health, these topics always turn into an argument or negativity because that is what we're basically taught to do with those topics. Anything like that, any topic that is
That's too controversial.
but it doesn't have to be. We can agree to disagree on something. There's
That's
people
it.
that things
Just
that
don't
you're saying
watch
make
it.
sense to me. Maybe there's some people that don't agree with you. You know what
For
I'm
sure,
saying?
just don't watch it.
Yeah.
It's not for you. If you don't agree with it or you don't like it, it's not for you.
No, you should definitely watch this. That's you should definitely watch it.
I was going
Just
for the
if you
takeaway.
don't agree, leave a comment down below. Well, yeah.
like spark this thing up.
Yeah. But
Oh goodness.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's all I got. I don't know. You got anything else to add? Either one?
I'm
Check
good
out
on
the
it.
wise words.
Yeah. I see you wearing the beanie today.
The only thing I just want to end it on like team TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. Let's do it, man. I'm with it. I love everybody. I want everybody to succeed.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing bad to people, then I don't want you to succeed because you're hurting people. You're doing bad to people. And glorifying miserable living to me, I think is overrated because we all want better, man. Let's just talk about the futures and get into betters and how we get in there and explain it to everybody so we all know.
Yeah.
We don't got to be greedy. Let us all eat. Let everybody eat. Let us all be a team up together. We can get a lot further, I promise you. We could pass water to the top of Mount Amherst hand to hand like it was nothing right now if we wanted to team up.
Build some pyramids.
Yeah.
Legit could.
All right. Wise words. This is episode 3. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Google, you name it. We're on
Appreciate
Alexa.
y'all.
Appreciate
Team
you.
up.
Yeah.